It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. So welcome back to Mind Your Business.
Yes,
it's so good to see you. So Chelsea Warren, you are the Economic and Cooperative Development Business Development Officer. And today we're going to be talking about commercial kitchens.
Yes.
So before we get started, let's remind people of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Chelsea Warren. I am, like Jamillah said, Economic and Cooperative Development Officer. Within my unit or within my job description or whatever, I facilitate a lot of the project managements for the programs that we have for either it's cooperative or economic development. In addition to that, we do advisory and educational programs. So whether we're putting on seminars, lunch and learns, like the educational segment of it. But about 50% is more so like project management with the projects that we have. And like today, we'll be talking about the commercial kitchens program.
Yes, I'm excited about that. So what is the commercial kitchens program?
Yes. So if this is the first time you've heard about the commercial kitchen program, number one, it's like one of the best programs in Bermuda. So this program is like twofold. So it benefits the user. So if you are a foodpreneur, a culinary, like in the culinary industry, and you're looking for commercial kitchen space, we are like the glue to that. So we meet entrepreneurs where they are. A lot of times, you could be an entrepreneur, but you don't have the space to operate. And so what we do is we provide this space for you. So that's the first field. So we deliver commercial kitchen space, underutilized commercial space to food entrepreneurs. And then the second part is if you're a small business, or organization, sports club, church, and you have underutilized commercial kitchen space, we rent it out from you. So I think it's just like a cycle, and it's a win-win for both, because in one aspect, you know, if you are looking for additional revenue streams as an organization, we provide that to you. And then we do all the project management. So I guess we'll get more into that. But that's just basically it, a program that, you know, that has the glue between commercial kitchen space as well as looking for organizations that need more.
I like to call
revenue.
you matchmakers,
yes,
right?
That's what we are. Thank you for helping me out. I'm rambling. The matchmakers. That's exactly what we are.
You are matching the kitchen with the person, and then that presents an opportunity for the kitchen owner to earn additional revenue if they're not using it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And there's so many people that need to use it. So why was this program kind of created?
Yeah, so like BEDC, I would say BEDC is extremely innovative and progressive. So when we have users come to us with needs and complaints or they're struggling with something, I think we identify those and then we act on it. And so that's a clear example of what happened within this program. 2021, I would say, that was when the need sparked interest within our unit. And it was just like, okay, well, let's go ahead and try to implement something where we can assist these entrepreneurs to grow their businesses and scale. And then also for organizations to put more money in their pocket and streamline. So a small business may have underutilized space. So for example, a restaurant, they may have, they only serve brunch. But what happens to the kitchen space in the evenings?
Right.
So there's underutilized space using that. So yeah, 2021 it started because of the need.
Right. So who would you say is your ideal customer for this program?
I would say anyone that's in the culinary industry.
Okay.
Foodpreneurs, bakers. If you want to start a juice company, like chefs that do like pastries or hot food. So anyone, and a lot of times they go to health first, and health would then direct them, like you need a commercial kitchen space. Sometimes a lot of users, like, you know, a small percentage, they may not need it. But if you're using eggs or anything of sorts, dairy, anything, you would need to come to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it could be dangerous, right?
No, yes,
like if you're not...
definitely. yes, definitely. So health definitely does a good job at making sure that the community is safe.
So now I know that people ask me all the time. We meet bakers, we talk to people who need the space. What has it been like in terms of demand from the user of the kitchen and the supply of the actual kitchens?
So for users, the demand is extremely high.
Right.
I think, especially during peak season, like summertime. I don't know if like during summer everyone gets their ideas together, or maybe they're hibernating and their ideas come into fruition in summer. But the peak definitely comes during summertime, and the demand is extremely high. the flip side is that the interest is high, but the actual facility and space we do not have. So that is kind of where we're at right now with trying to market more and be more hands-on and proactive and go into these facilities. And do you have underutilized space? Sending out emails, just trying to connect the dots so that we can meet the demand of the interested users.
So give me the example of the ideal kitchen provider. Like, what does it look like? I heard you mention like sports club. Like, who would you like to be calling you and saying, "Hey, I got a kitchen"?
Yes, definitely. Well, I think our main goal is also to give back into the community and have that money, that revenue streamline. And so definitely sports club. So if you have a sports club and you have a kitchen in the back that is commercial grade, so that's another part I guess we'll touch on, subject to health's approval, because they always have to come in and approve it. That's who we're looking for. Sports club, churches. So I know one of our kitchens that we have on site right now is Bethel Church. That works because no one's in those kitchens every single day. And, it just puts the money back into the community, like I said, because it allows another source of revenue.
Right.
So you can use it to grow your church or your business. What else? Sports club, churches. Some people may have a small business. They may have their own restaurant, and they may just not be operating it at its full capacity. And so that's where we come in. So those are like our ideal clientele for what we're looking for.
So what if I have a kitchen? I think it's commercial grade, but I'm not sure. Will you assist me with being able to either identify that is or get certified or whatever I need to do with Department of Health?
Yeah, so we have an interest form on our BEDC website under the commercial kitchens. And so even if you feel like you have something, it's good to reach out to us.
Okay.
Because then we will come within our unit and we'll do a site visit. We'll test it out. We'll see. Because the goal is that we can maximize the space for multiple entrepreneurs.
Gotcha.
That's why I love my unit as well, is because we don't focus on just one entrepreneur. We're looking at the whole and how we can benefit the multi users. And so we'll assess it. Okay, can this... okay, what is the facilities looking like? Are they commercial kitchen appliances? If you don't, BEDC can also make an investment. We'll claw back it within our contract and things like that. We can advance your space. And then once we make a decision, we will bring in health for them to come do an inspection. They'll look at the different things that they know that we need. We're pretty educated with that, the basis, the fundamentals, but it's good for health to come in and say, you can definitely use this. So we definitely just hit us up, email us, and then we'll go take it from there.
I think it's a great opportunity, right? Because if you have a space and you're not using it, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
But I can imagine that some people might feel uneasy because they might be like, well, what if they tear up my stuff?
Exactly.
How do you kind of manage that relationship?
I think the vetting process is extremely important for us. So when we have users come into our program, there's a vetting process we do. We have a one-on-one call. As soon as you send in your interest, we have a 15-minute consultation call. So we kind of could feel you out, seriousness, what you have going on. And then we're matchmakers. And so if you tell us what are certain do's and don'ts. For example, for a Seventh-day Adventist church, we know they may not prefer, they want no meat.
Right.
So we will make sure that we tailor it for that so that we respect all the users. So back to the question, which was...
It was, how do you make feel comfortable that...
So we have, so basically how the program works is that we have a head lease with the organization kitchens that we're using, and then we sublease them. So within these contracts, there are extensive do's and don'ts and things. And you can really just tell. I don't think everyone that's came into our program has been extremely serious, but we have different, we have protocols and rules and regulations that makes the program a little bit more seamless. And we deal a lot with the user one-on-one. So we make sure that this is a client that's coming in, because it also reflects us as well, And so within the lease, we have an onboarding process when it comes to cleaning, making sure that they clean up after themselves. But then we also have someone that comes in and deep cleans, rental payments, locking up. All those things are all within this onboarding process. And we have, because we can manage the amount of users we have, we have really great relationships with them.
Okay.
So we keep in touch. If it's not weekly, it's monthly. And so we know what's going on. We do site visits. We do pop-ups. So health does pop-ups. So it's just kind of like we're very much so engaged. So you don't have to feel uneasy because we're right there with you walking through the steps.
And I think that it's probably good for people who have kitchens to
Yes.
hear, because that could be why they're not coming forward, because they're like, well, I don't want to manage this. I don't want to be a landlord, and then I'm going to have to. So BEDC takes that burden off of them.
Yes.
And so, like you said, you are the least. You lease the space, so they get their money.
Yes,
They're going to get their money. They don't have to worry about chasing people. We then sublet to, and so we are the ones that would chase. So it's that little bit of a barrier between the actual kitchen owner and the person utilizing the kitchen, which I think bodes well for them, for the kitchen owner, because they don't have to deal with all of the stuff.
No, they don't have to deal with any of the stuff. We are right there.
Yeah.
Yes, and we go as far as advancing the space. So I know one of the locations, the screen door, we needed just some renovations, AC, we took care of all of that.
Oh.
Yeah, we do. We go above and beyond to make sure the space is well workable, and that we keep the good relationship within the organization as well as us, the person that's utilizing the space as well.
So that's good to know. I mean, for someone who has a kitchen space and they're like, well, it's not really up to par. I think, like you said, the first thing would be just to call you
to see,
so that you can come out and assess it. And then if you deem it's a space that's workable, BEDC will be willing to invest in bringing the space up to where it needs to be in order to rent it out. And then we'll call back it
through the rent and things like that, but we'll work it out. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the overall goal is just to maximize and meet the needs of many entrepreneurs as we can. And I think that's where we are right now. There's a high interest.
Yes.
And so we know that there's a need. And so we're just trying to fulfill that. So we are willing to work with someone that has unutilized commercial kitchen space.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense from a cooperative type of perspective, is that you don't always need to have your own space, especially if you're not utilizing it all of the time. And then that gives you the flexibility to reduce your operating costs, your overhead costs, because you're not buying the equipment. The equipment's already there. And then also the amount that you pay is going to be equal to the time that you're using, right?
And that's the beauty of the program as well. So when users come into our program, how it works in itself is you can come, the money that you spend is what you're using, is your usage time. So versus you having to go and buy a whole commercial kitchen yourself or rent out one full time. The shared accommodations works because it helps your bottom line. You know, that's the beauty of the program as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, to me, it sounds like a win-win. I don't know why.
It is a win-win. It's a no-brainer. If I was a culinary expert or innovative that's good into the food industry, this is something that I would definitely do. Or if I had underutilized space, I would take full advantage of.
And that's the
But it's a trust factor. Sometimes you just need to see,
And I think that's the key. And that's why we're having this conversation, is to let people understand that, you know, this is something that's good for overall Bermuda, right? It helps entrepreneurial ecosystem, but it in both ways, right? You're getting money in your pocket because you have the space that's not being used. And then the entrepreneur now has a space where they can produce their products in a safe, sanctioned environment.
Yes, exactly.
And so you know that the public is going to benefit from this. So people are always coming in here, as you know, looking for some place where they can prepare their food and cook their food. Can you talk to me about one of your biggest success stories?
So when it comes to, I started last year. When I came, I remember one of the ladies was Vanessa Bates. She had rosemary. Chris Farbert has been in. He has the Bermuda pie. He was in there for a little bit, for a month. But I've really gotten to know and grow with Trevor. He has the Eat Plant-Based. And so I've watched him grow within the year that I've been there in terms of increasing hours, looking to scale his business. And so those are the type of things when I think of success, seeing them in real life. And Lynette. So those are two people, Lynette, she has a catering company as well. She's in our program. And I was recently at an event, and the food was catered by her, and it was 1,000 of us. And so to know that I was at this event and somebody in our program, a user in our program, catered this, to me, that was true success. So I think just seeing the growth with the increased hours, seeing them in real life, catering events, and just knowing that their business is thriving and they want to take it to next heights, it shows there's no other better way than seeing that in real time.
Yeah, I'm sure it's wonderful to know that you've been a part of it, right?
Yes,
it's like they're doing all the work, but just you help to facilitate them being able to do that. They're getting these larger jobs, and you know that some way you played a
and we have
part in that.
Wayne as well. He does the jerk chicken on Robert
yes,
Tree.
yes.
And so I went there, got food. And so those are the relationships when you are, within, my work environment, but then coming outside of that and seeing the real life impact that it has. I think that's the beauty within the program. And that's what, if you have underutilized space, to see that you are assisting and helping an entrepreneur, that's also pouring back into the community.
Yes.
Because we have to keep that circle alive.
Yeah, and it allows you to see in real life the benefit of what it is that you're doing, that you made your space available, and you can actually see how it's impacted the person as well as the community.
Because people go work all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't see, they could just be behind the desk and you don't really see what's being affected or what's being impacted. So in our roles, at BEDC, we can see it, and I think that's the beauty of it.
It is. So if someone is like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. Let me figure out what I need to do. What would you advise them as the first step to take?
So as a user?
And as a provider.
Okay, so as a user or a provider, the most common is just to go on our BEDC website. I think CDU does an awesome job at laying out the different tabs. So you'll see a commercial kitchen tab. And what you'll do is just schedule an interest call. Adriana just came on board, and we will have these interest meetings. They're 15 minutes. We just want to know about you. Where are you going? What's new? What's up? What are you trying to do? Where are your goals? It's not a big interview. It's just a conversation.
Right.
So we can feel it out and see what we have. And then the next step would be to then do our application process. Now, the tricky part or the downside is that we don't have the capacity to fulfill everyone right now. We're actually at capacity. And so, but we do have a waiting list. And we've streamlined a lot of things through Asana. We've streamlined everything so we can see the waiting list. We're trying to make a lot of things digital, so we make the process a little bit more efficient. And then, so if you did get selected, you get the application process. We look to see what times you're looking for.
Right.
The program is 24 hours. So that's why we try to get on a utilized space where someone can rent at 11 p.m. Or 2 a.m. And so you put in your times, and then we see if we have this time available. If we do, and then you begin the process with health.
Okay.
We'll give you a letter of intent to let you know we have this space available for you. Also, someone else may be able to get ahead of you only because they may require less.
Gotcha.
So someone may require a fridge and a freezer, someone may not. And so the person that doesn't, if we have space for them that don't need a fridge, we'll just go for the person. So it's all about, it's not an easy process, but it's a lot of work that goes on, admin work that goes on behind the scenes. And so then you engage health. We'll give you the letter of intent. You'll do an application. Health will do a site visit with you and an inspection, and then we go from there. And it's a pretty, it's not a fast pace. It's pretty not time consuming, but it does require a lot of you to put in a little bit of time to get this through. But once you're in, you're in. And we also offer, the provisional license. So if you're just having a pop-up or anything like that, we can host that as well.
Okay.
Now, for a user, for someone who has a commercial kitchen space and they're looking to get in, just, do the interest form as well. And then we'll do a site visit, we'll engage health, and then we'll go from there. Okay. That process is a little bit more extensive because there are things that have to be put in place. There are procedures. There are appliances. There's a little bit more stringent to have actual space. But with health, we get the ball rolling.
Okay. I think the key is the demand is there, and you're looking for kitchen owners to reach out and let you guys take on the work of helping them to get their kitchen up to grade so that we have more supply on the market.
Yes.
And so I think that's the key, and I'm hopeful that as people are hearing this and they know that they have something that could be used, allow the BEDC to come through and assess, and if need be, make adjustments or make, upgrades as necessary so that we can increase the supply.
Yes,
because I'm sure there are kitchens out there.
There are kitchens. We have about 2 to 3 right now that we are in the process of possible onboarding.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Last year we actually went to a lot of kitchens. Yeah. Last year we were engaged with a lot of kitchens, but it didn't work out. And so I'm hopeful this year that we do more conversations so people can really know what's going on. I think it is a trust factor, or letting people in their kitchen, or how do I vet these people? Do they have license? Are people going to run off with my rent? No, we pay.
Right.
And a lot of times we pay 3 months in advance or up to 6 months. So we lock it in, and you get your rent. You know, we don't miss a rent. So that's the beauty in that as well.
And I think that's good for people to know. Like, for all of those conversations you had, you do have a proven track record now. So initially, like when you're starting, people be like, I don't want to be the guinea pig. I don't know what you guys are going to do. Test that out. But now you have proof that it can work.
Yeah.
And so I'm encouraging people who have kitchens or who have spaces that are not being fully utilized to consider this as a feasible option for them to earn that additional revenue, especially from a community club perspective, because community clubs need
extra revenues.
They need it. You know what I mean? And so if this is something that you have in your space and you're not using it, BEDC is saying, hello, give us a call, let us connect you with a potential tenant, or you don't even have to be involved in that. Just let us do it, right? Let BEDC be the tenant, and then we'll take care of the rest. Exactly. So I'm hopeful that after this, the phone is going to be ringing. So I just want to give you an opportunity for you to say what your message or what your call to action for kitchen owners to take advantage or take a chance on this program. What would you say?
I guess before I say that, I will let them know that, you know, it's bigger than the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, success it's bigger than the kitchen. It's the lives that we impact. I think it's the people that, you know, we pour into in our community to see that the outcome is that the community is given in a positive light and that positive things are happening and we are helping and growing our community, because we all have a part to play.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when you identify that just by you having a kitchen, you can play a part in being a positive influence or giving positivity into the community. So I'll say that first. And then I'll also say, because if you understand our program, it's also bigger than the kitchen for the user as well, because we don't just stop at providing space. We don't just look at someone as that's a user that has a gift. We educate after that. We put on lunch and learns to educate them. We engage health so that if you have any questions, you can sit at a lunch and learn and you can learn for free. We have a lot of lunch and learns coming up with health, so that the users in our program are just as they're gifted, they're educated on safety, on protocols. And then we're having another lunch and learn for kitchen owners, so they can identify, do I have the kitchen space? What makes it, you know, safe and different things like that. So it's bigger than just the gift. It's bigger than the money. It's also at the education and pouring back into the community. And I think, like I said, we all have a part to play.
Yeah.
So if I had to give a ode to users, it's bigger than the kitchen. You have a part to play. If you're sitting at home and you know you have underutilized commercial kitchen space, you can actually help an entrepreneur grow, live out their dreams, and then pour that back into the community.
And get paid.
And get paid. Who doesn't want to get paid? Because yes, we need that right now. So yes, and then on top of that, get paid. So it's a beauty in the circle of life, I think.
Yeah, the circle of life.
The circle of life. You know,
I immediately thought about the Lion King.
I know, me too. It blinked in my head. I said, why would you say that? But okay, whatever.
But it's true. When you think about it, the life of a business, the life of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, it requires everybody's input, right?
It does.
It's not just us as BDC saying, oh, we recognize this as a need. It's also the people that need the kitchen, and it's also those who have the kitchens being willing to open it up and create an opportunity for this entrepreneur to succeed.
Because an entrepreneur is at home. Someone that is looking to live out their dreams is at home right now, watching this, and they're praying because they cannot do anything without a commercial kitchen. They can't get a license. They can't do that without a commercial kitchen space. And literally that's serious.
Yeah, it is. I know early on, before this program existed, there were some people who did like home baking and things like that. And I know Department of Health would come out and they would tell them, this is what you need. These are the things you need to purchase. And sometimes that is a bit overwhelming. You know,
it's like
commercial grade stuff. I know. I don't have the money to invest and buy all of this equipment. So to know that BEDC is taking on the responsibility of, in some instances, purchasing this commercial grade equipment to support entrepreneurs as well as the kitchen owners, I mean, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge thing. And I think when you look at it like at the twofold, you see that it's a big program.
Right.
It's an awesome program that impacts the users and the people with the space.
So again, let's just remind people, for both the user as well as the person with the kitchen, the supplier, they can go onto our website, which is bedc.bm.
Yep.
Under the commercial kitchens tab, and then all of the details are there. But then if they want to contact you directly.
Yes. My email is cwarren@bedc.bm.
Right. And
then Adriana's running it as well, so
Yeah.
you can always reach out to her.
yeah, I think the idea of having that point person, of hearing your voice and knowing who you
Yes.
are, and knowing that you are willing to meet with them and talk with them initially, can hopefully go a long way in encouraging people to reach out, because I think it's a great program. I'm like, we need to have our own commercial kitchen.
But so that's the goal, you know. That's the plans for us in the future. I think that's definitely the plans for the future. So I'm hoping that, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that we could do that, because in other parts of the world, in other jurisdictions, they call these cloud kitchens, right?
Or
and
shared
that's
kitchens.
that's exactly what it is, right? It's a big space. You have, everybody has their own spot, and some people just do takeout or just do catering.
Yeah.
So there's no need for like a restaurant or that type of thing. And so for those entrepreneurs in that space that do that, I mean, it's perfect.
It is perfect. Yeah, it's definitely perfect. And then a lot of, like, I see that with organizations sometimes with these spaces, you have a food, if you have an underutilized space and you use one of our tenants, because we always have like an anchor tenant.
Yeah.
Someone that's putting in most of the hours and the manpower. And those tenants, like say for example, you had a restaurant or you had a spot that then they can serve out of, you know, or serve to your tenants or serve, you know, that opens up another stream as well. And that's how the community works as well, because I know like with hotels or like different locations, they're able to sell outside of their space. And so that brings a lot of like, you know, people into their spot and their location as well. So I think the program in itself, it does really awesome. Being able to see the growth and like for you to get paid, I think it's just a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. So you heard it here. If you have a kitchen, please contact Chelsea so that she can have a conversation with you and hopefully get that kitchen online so that this wait list can be accommodated.
Definitely.
And anybody else that is looking for a kitchen,
sign up.
Yeah, please sign up, because the goal at the end of the day would be to have everybody match.
Everybody match.
Everybody who needs a kitchen gets a kitchen. That's
Everybody,
what
you
we're
need a
working
kitchen.
towards.
You need a kitchen. You need a kitchen. Come on down.
Okay, Oprah. No, I really do appreciate you taking the time to come and remind us about the program, remind us of the value of it and how it contributes to the overall ecosystem in Bermuda. And I'm hoping that people are going to be calling you and signing up to put their kitchens online, because it's definitely needed.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chelsea. And what? Remember, if you don't mind your business, who will?
Who will?
Oh.
I like it.
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.